Hello Dice Stormers and welcome to Descent into Avernus Baldur's Gate, the DM's Tips Guide Part 8. So I've been having a lot of fun making these series and I really appreciate your comments and your feedback, and if it does warrant a subscription, please do that, and also hit that like button and turn on the notifications so that I know that you know when I post more of these videos. But I've been getting really good feedback from everybody, and thank you so much for your comments and your suggestions. I'm going to try and keep doing these as often as I can. I'm running another campaign at the moment, so my time is kind of split between these two, but I'll do it as much as I can. So the players have made their way down the chains that are holding Elturel above the River Styx, and hopefully they've made their way onto the land, and now they have to go and try and help Lulu recall some of her memories. And the place that they need to do that is Fort Knucklebone. Now, they're going to start truly adventuring across the hellish landscape that is Avernus at this time. So I thought I'd do a little guide, a tourist's guide to Avernus. So what is life like in Avernus? Well, the most important thing is that it's not always been a hellish landscape. Obviously, there's been an evolution of Avernus, and it used to start out as a verdant garden of earthly delights where you could indulge in just any kind of sin or vice that humanity has to offer. So it used to be a place that was filled with gardens and wine to drink and all of that sort of stuff. And then the River Styx happened, and it poured its way through the Avernus landscape and corrupted the entire countryside into what it is today. So it is important to remember that there are still pockets of this this little garden of earthly delights aspect to Avernus that are still hidden around the landscape. And the further the players, it doesn't say this in the book, but the further the players venture away from the River Styx, the more likely they would probably be to encounter some of these little pockets. So what they are and how they present is kind of up to you. They might be an oasis, they might be a little town, or a cave with hidden things inside it. And it could be good for the players or it could be bad for the players. And I think it's a nice kind of storytelling moment for the DM to be able to create these little pockets of stories and tempt the players into them, or corrupt them more, or there could be any kind of results from this. Or it might be just a break. Not just demons and devils live here. It is a interesting, vibrant ecosystem, and there are lots of visitors, lots of tourists, but also people there on a mission to Avernus. Some might be gathering spell components, others might be trading souls, others might be, on a mission from some other higher power. There might be demons from below that have decided to take a more subversive route into Avernus. So there is a whole bunch of other people that are wandering around Avernus that the players might be able to encounter. There's a whole bunch of alterations to the magic system. The book goes into it in a lot of detail, but I really love the different ways. Like if you use the ability to call a steed, it comes as a nightmare. If you create an augury spell to give you information, it appears as an imp that gives you instructions or tells you what to do, and they can be sort of nasty and horrible, or only give you half of the information that you might necessarily need. So there's a lot of good ways that the player and the DM can change what happens in Avernus to kind of create a bit more of an atmosphere. There's Demon Ichor that kind of sits in pools around the place. You can use it to coat your weapons, and when you hit someone with a Demon Ichor, all sorts of bizarre things can happen if they fail a bunch of saving throws. Their head can grow twice as big. Their legs can become elongated and gain 10% or 10 feet per round to their speed. They can shrink in size. They can become bloated and fat. There's all these sort of weird concoctions that can come from being struck with a weapon that is coated with Demon Ichor. It only lasts once, so you can't sort of go around giving people maladies left and right. But if it is something that the players discover, I think that it could lead to some quite hilarious things. and resting. There's no time in Avernus. There's no sun, there's no stars, there's no daylight. It seems to be this horrible, awful, perpetual twilight that the players are traveling through. And I think you need to kind of reinforce that you have no idea how long you've been traveling in a certain direction, because A, the map doesn't give you any indication, and B, it's kind of, you just kind of travel until you get tired. And I think that's a kind of a thing that can really mess with characters' minds. There's plenty more stuff that can mess with characters' minds, but we'll get to that in a sec. So here is the map of Avernus, and this is the DM's map, so it tells you all of the locations of the things that are on it. Now, it's always good to remember that the person who wrote this map went mad in the process of it. And now that you're in Avernus and you have the map and you're heading to one of these locations, the thing that will happen is that the map will speak in the cartographer's voice and give you a little description of the area as you're heading towards it. You can try and engage with the cartographer and speak to him as he's giving you indications. But if you're approaching a thing that has no entry on the map, he might do a couple of different things. I think the book says that he can babble incoherently about nothing in particular, scream insanely, or sob and wail moaningly. And I think this is great. If you really want to get your characters into an uneasy state of mind, start to mumble stuff under your breath, and as they lean in to try and hear what you're saying, scream at them in agony or madness. It'll only work once, but it's short of work. So definitely try that. So all of this is kind of interesting also in the fact that there is no Elturel listed on this map because it didn't exist when the person wrote it, and there is no Fort Knucklebone, which is where the players are trying to get to. So even though they have this map, it has no place for them to start. They have no way for them to figure out how they're going to get to their first location. Fortunately, Lulu has a fairly strong memory of the two Kenku that live in Fort Knucklebone, and that's where Lulu is going to direct the players to go first, because that's where she believes she can restore some of her lost memories. And the person that's going to do that, obviously, this is them traveling through the River Styx with Lulu as your guide. And as a guide, Lulu is not that helpful because, her memory is shot, but she does believe that Fort Knucklebone, which is this place, will be your first stop. So as you can see, it's kind of like a hand that's clawing up out of the ground, and it's ringed on all sides by the scavenging that has been, that has become part of life in Avernus. And this all looks very kind of medieval, and a wall made of giant bits of metal is cool and all. But what is happening inside Fort Knucklebone is even more interesting, in that they are building war machines. And the war machines are going to be a very big part of what's going on in Avernus. So if you can get past this barricade and the imps that control it, they're going to tell you to do a whole bunch of stupid stuff and ask for the password, and then laugh at you and tell you there is no password, and then ask you to, do a dance or all those sorts of things. They, have as much fun with you as you like with the players on that count. But the person who's really running Fort Knucklebone, the person who you really need to get on the good side of, is Mad Maggie and her homunculus, kind of weird looking flesh golem here called Mikey. And the way that you do that is she is perfectly willing and has the ability to unlock Lulu's memories, but obviously, like all of the things that are going to happen in Avernus, these people aren't going to help you out for free. So she will exact a toll, and you need to get on her good side in order to get her to perform the rituals or whatever it is in order to help Lulu regain her memory. And there are a whole bunch of people who are living and working in Fort Knucklebone that you can do things for. And of course, none of these things are particularly nice. Mikey here has a bone of demon spur stuck in his foot, and he hobbles around and kind of does this dance. And if you can convince him to sort of sit down and extract it, he will be forever thankful for you and give you a good word with Mad Maggie, and she'll appreciate it. So there's a whole bunch of these tasks that you can do in Fort Knucklebone, and it's a good chance to kind of ease up on the combat and the role playing. There was a lot of kind of combat and stuff going on getting out of Elturel, and this is a really nice moment to maybe sort of lift the mood a little bit and have some fun with these characters, and not have such a combat heavy session with these guys. If you do want to fight Mad Maggie, there's a whole world of pain, I think, involved in trying to take over her kingdom. She is very, very powerful, and Mikey is nothing to be sneezed at either. He's a challenge rating 8 character. So it's a good idea to kind of emphasize how much you are in the enemies of camp when the players get here and how many people there are. Speaking of the players' camp, this is where Mad Maggie is building the war machines. And the war machines are literally Mad Max style hellish vehicles that are powered by demon blood and will just roll across the landscape and kind of obliterate anything in their path. If you do manage to convince Mad Maggie to help you, you would really do well to ask her to borrow one of these machines, and she's only going to do that if you've been really helpful. So that is kind of what you're after. You're after to gain favor with Mad Maggie and get the Lulu's memories back, and the second one is to gain a war machine so that you can roll across and not have as much danger when you're traveling through Avernus. Going back to the map of Avernus, again, this is a map done by a madman, and it doesn't have any kind of scale you'll see on it anywhere. It might take you 1 hour to drive from Uldrak's Grave to the wrecked fortress, and then it might take you 20 hours to return. There's no kind of sense of scale or time, and you need to emphasize to the players that you're in a very odd situation here with all of the stuff that's going on. So I think that's it for this session of Descent into Avernus. That's Fort Knucklebone. There's lots more stuff to dig into in the actual adventure itself, so please try and read it as carefully as you can. I hope this guide has been a help in terms of broad strokes about what people are going to expect when they get there. But please go and read the book. There's lots of good stuff in there, and good luck with taking your adventurers through it. My name's Derek. I'm part of the Dice Stormers. Have a good one.